Hello and welcome to the show. Round 7. So how are you tonight? You good? Well, we've got a bumper of a show for you tonight. Coming up later is Nick Elston, inspirational speaker, and he'll be talking anxiety later on, so watch out for Nick. And we'll be bringing you short reports on mindful driving, how to do mindful driving. Now, don't worry, if you're not a driver, you can apply the same rules to being a passenger in any vehicle. And for your gentle movement exercise tonight, you'll need your yoga mats, or you'll maybe need to bring your device over to your bed and use your bed instead. So we always start with our announcements. Okay, so for those new to the show, if you know any friends, family or colleague who missed the show, it's okay, because these shows are all backed up onto the YouTube channel Vincent Anthony Media, and all the other shows are there, and you can practice all your mindfulness exercises and look at some of the theory over the last 6 weeks there. It's not going anywhere. That's a free resource for you available. Now, the show tonight is brought to you in partnership with Ecamm Live. So if you're watching the show and you think, I'd quite like to do my own live streaming show, if you're a Mac user, go into my website, vincentanthonymedia.com, and click on the Ecamm link, and that's you on your way into the world of broadcasting. Also, if you've seen any of my aerial cinematography on any previous shows or my other video projects, and you think, I'd quite like to have a go at being a pilot, go into my website, Vincent Anthony Media, and click on the DJI link, and that will take you to my recommended quadcopter that I personally use for travel adventure videography. It's the one I recommend because it's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too cheap, and it's not too expensive either. It's a really good, robust product that I recommend. Also, if you're a company out there, or who would like to sponsor a show, if you'd like to help us, we can put your logo up on the screen in future shows. We could perhaps even come and do a TV-style advert for your product or service. If you want to support the show, get in touch and let's talk. Maybe you're a benefactor and you think, I'd like to do something for mental health, but I don't know what to do. You can help our show. With a wee bit more money, we can buy more equipment. In future, we hope to go out and do actually live outside broadcasts from different venues, which are places of health and well-being and healing. I could maybe pay a young person a wage to get some experience of video production and broadcasting. So if you're a benefactor and you want to do something for mental health, why not give our show a little sponsorship, and we can put your logo up. Or if you want to be a secret sponsor, we can not put your logo up. So just get in touch, Vincent Anthony Media. You'll find me on the internet somewhere. Welcome, Alex Miller. Thanks for joining us on the show. Alex is a cameraman, and I'm looking forward to producing some content with Alex in future for the show. So welcome, Alex. Enjoy the show. And again, folks, if you're watching, get on that messenger thing. Say hello. Let me know you're listening. You can interact with me. I don't want this all to be about my content, which is why my hope is to bring you a guest on every week's show. So it's not just my content, because I want to co-create with you. If you're a health worker, a holistic worker, a life coach, a psychologist, a filmmaker, if you're helping people to stay calm and relaxed at this time, get in touch and we'll feature you on our show and we'll promote your company. Or you might be a person, or you might know a person who's an inspirational person. I'm talking about someone who's maybe had it all, had all the money and everything, lost it, and rebuilt their lives using some kind of holistic or spiritual practice. It could be mindfulness, it could be a new religion, it could be acupuncture, it could be anything. If you've turned your life around, we want to tell your story. Get in touch. Okay? So that's our announcements for the show. So we're going to start with a little bit of theory stroke philosophy, because when I used to teach classes, 75% of the class would be practical. It was core practice, including some of the exercises you'll be doing later on this evening with your yoga mats. And but we also had a bit of theory and philosophy as well, because our course was a proper course. If you're going to do anything, for example, especially if you're all going to be wanting to read books on mindfulness from now on, or do a course, you are going to get some jargon. So for the first few weeks, we started doing a bit of jargon busting. Then we went on to our mini module on conflict management. We've now finished that mini module, so we're going back to jargon busting. Okay, so there's a very long word. Don't let it scare you. Okay, what I should say is that the reason why we look at philosophy and theory and study things like the brain is because if you know a little bit about how your brain works, it lets you understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Okay, I'm not saying it's going to take away your anxiety, especially for those sufferers who have quite chronic anxiety. Understanding why your brain's doing why your brain is doing what it's doing isn't going to take it away. I know that myself, but it does help a little bit to take the sting out of the pain, because you understand what's going on. Okay, so in our course, when we did have a course, we had a mini module on the brain and a little bit about how the brain functions. Okay, and so we're going to cover a piece of jargon called, wait for it, neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity of the brain. Don't let it scare you off. It's actually quite a simple concept. So let's start by dialing in our nuns on the run image. Can you tell I'm going to start getting addicted to these sound effects? I need to get some counselling to stop me from using the sound effects. Please feel free to complain on the comments if I'm going overboard with the sound effects, okay? And come and say hello. Alex has said hello. Where is our resident commentator from West Lothian, William Ritchie? Where are you, William? Come on, I want to see you coming up. Say hello to us, William, and anyone else that's watching in. Including you too, Carsden. If you said you'd be watching tonight, let's say hello, Carsden Quisler. Come and say hello. So I'm going off on a tangent, as always. Back to our theory. Here's our nuns on the run. Why have I got this image up here? Well, a study was done at some point in history of some retired nuns. Okay, and the study was conducted because they couldn't understand why none of the nuns had Alzheimer's in their elderly stages of life. And they discovered that these nuns were spending all day. We have William Ritchie. Welcome, William. Thanks for joining us, William, our resident commentator. Enjoy the show. He's saying he doesn't comment. Well, we have ways of making you change your ways, William. Okay, back to our theory. Yes, the nuns sounded a bit like one of the two Ronnies that kept on going off on tangents all the time. In fact, I'll probably start to look like him, but just with ginger hair. So, yes, back to the nuns. They discovered the nuns didn't have Alzheimer's because these nuns were spending all day doing little crossword puzzles and maths puzzles. And what they were doing was they were building up what's called grey matter in the brain. Because if you don't do mental exercises like reading or learning things or doing puzzles or learning a language or even doing a mindfulness course, your brain starts to change from grey matter to water. Okay, so none of these nuns had Alzheimer's because they were constantly continuing with their lifelong learning. So you see, the brain is like any other muscle. If you exercise, okay, let's switch to camera because it might be easier. Okay, there we are. And we'll move our nun down here. Okay, so as I was saying, I'll master the software. I've been saying for weeks I'll master it. I will become the master. Okay, here's my muscle here. Okay, if you exercise this muscle, what happens? It gets bigger. If you stop exercising, it becomes thinner and flaccid, doesn't it? Okay, so it's the same with the brain. Okay, it's the same with the brain. If you use the brain, you create neural pathways, and that's your grey matter. And these nuns were building up lots of neural pathways in their later stages of life, so they weren't suffering from Alzheimer's. Okay, and let's just have a look at what's going on in the brain. So let's bring up our little diagram of our neural network. Here's our neurons. These are two brain cells, and as you can see, they are forming part of a chain at what's called the dendrites. They're joining at dendrites. So you can see it's got a little tail and a head where the nucleus is, and the nucleus is joining onto the tail of another cell. Okay, and this is what's happening all the time in your brain. Now, neuroplasticity of the brain is not that old. It's about 10 years old. Now, when I was in the 70s, when I was at primary school, they used to say, that's a bad habit, stop it. But they just didn't know why habits became habits. They didn't know that when you have a bad habit or a good habit, you're actually building up networks in your brain. So if you have negative thoughts, you'll create negative neural networks. If you have positive thoughts, you'll create positive neural networks. And it's because we have so many negative thoughts that's why it's so easy to go down that path of mental illness, which leads to physical illness, and it's that vicious cycle spiraling downwards. Okay, and that's because you're forming all these negative neural pathways in the brain. Okay, another way to see it is imagine a piece of grass next to a building where people are going to their work in the morning. Now, to take a shortcut, people will walk over the grass. And if they keep walking over it, what happens? The grass starts to fade away and you get earth and you get a path. And that's how your brain works. So what happens if the gardener comes along, puts up a fence and says no walking on the grass? People stop walking on the grass. What happens is that path begins to fill up again. And it no longer becomes a path, it all becomes a one lawn of grass. So that's what you're doing in your brain with positive and negative thoughts. Okay? Now, the brain is hardwired to be negative. It's a survival mechanism because hundreds of thousands of years ago, when we lived in the caves, we were always paranoid about going out and hunting in case we got killed by bears or by another tribe. And that design of the brain has stayed with us to this day, except it's now been triggered by fears such as council tax or divorce or road rage attacks or fear of being sued or bullying in the workplace or bullying in the domestic situation. All these things are causing us to create negative neural pathways, which cause us to go in the downward spiral. Okay. Now, I'll just get my auto cue because I don't want to forget to tell you anything important about the brain here. So neuroplasticity is that's good news for us because the brain can move and we can repair the bad pathways by changing our thoughts. It means that no matter what stage you're at with anxiety, there's always the ability to repair your brain, to retrain your brain to get better. And that's the good news about neuroplasticity of the brain. That's what I used to tell people in the classes. Okay. Now, for those of you who are thinking, oh, I don't believe in all of that, let's get rid of our neural network here and let's bring in our taxi driver. Okay. Now, taxi drivers have, because they've got to learn about 10,000 streets, it's discovered that they have a larger hippocampus, which is a part of the brain to do with memory. They have a larger hippocampus, and this is your proof, if you like, of the neuroplasticity theory, which is not theory really. It's fact. Okay. Now here's another interesting fact that I found is that 75% of all patients sitting in the doctor's waiting room are not really suffering from the external illnesses. 75% of those illnesses in the doctor's waiting room can all be traced to anxiety. Okay, what causes anxiety? Very simple. Not thoughts, but wrong thinking. Wrong thinking is the source of all anxiety. Now, I know what it's like if you've got severe anxiety and you know that fact, it doesn't take the anxiety away, does it? It's still there. It's only when you start to recover and get better that you start to appreciate the fact that your anxiety has been caused by thoughts. And more often than not, it's not your fault, it's just the way you've been conditioned to think. And your parents and their parents all the way back to ancient Egypt or Sumeria. So that's a basic introduction to neuroplasticity of the brain. So when you do mindfulness exercises, what we're doing is we're shrinking the parts of the brain, the fight or flight limbic system called the amygdala. We're shrinking that, and we're trying to grow the neocortex part of the brain, and that's the part that keeps us calm. So you see, that's what I mean when I say that the brain is very much like a muscle. You use it or you lose it. And in mindfulness classes, you are building up those neural networks in the brain, the positive ones, to help shift you away from that negative downward spiral of mental illness, which leads to physical illness, which leads to more mental illness. So if you've got any questions about neuroplasticity of the brain, or any questions at all about mindfulness or mental health or anything, that's what the comments box is for. Get on that comments box and give me a question. And if I can't answer it live, then I'll try and come up with the answer for the following week. You know, even if it's an area that's not to do with my speciality, which is mindfulness, it could be any area of well-being. If you want to ask, just ask. Maybe you live in a certain area and you want to send a message, you're looking for a therapist or a life coach in your area. That's what this comments box is for. So use it. Don't be frightened to expand your circle of influence by adding comments like our two buddies Alex and William are doing most weeks. Okay, so that's our bit of theory over with. I hope I've explained it easily enough. But again, if you've got any questions, get on that comments box and ask away. So if you're ready, are you ready for your gentle movement exercise? As I said, you'll need either a yoga mat or bring your device over to your bed, just so that you've got something comfortable to lie down on. Okay, and this is our Tibetan relaxation exercise. So if you're ready, I will run VT. I think it's about approximately 20 minutes. Do as best you can and enjoy. Let's go. Now, in some of our classes, we can work with the mats. So this exercise is 3 combined into 1. We'll be doing a little bit of yoga, combined with a Tibetan relaxation exercise, and we'll be including the body scan technique, which is a popular exercise in many mindfulness classes. Now, if you don't have a yoga mat, it's okay. You can do this on your bed as well. And this is easy to do. Practice this at home anytime you want. It's a very good relaxation technique. So just get on your back, and I would also recommend for this exercise to have a blanket ready for the meditation at the end. Okay, so just lie down, just relax, and you're just going to let your arms come up and back. Just observe how relaxing this is. Join in with me. I learned this technique from Master Sudish, who's my local yoga teacher.
And just let the arms fall down to your sides. Just relax. Let all your muscles just flop down. Now we're going to start with our body scan technique. I want you to relax the muscles in your feet. And relax the muscles in your toes. Relax your feet. Relax. Moving up to the calf muscles. Relax your calf muscles. Moving up to your thighs, relax your thighs and your quad muscles. Relax. Relax your legs. Any tension that you notice, just relax it. Moving up to your torso, relax the muscles in your stomach. And relax the muscles in your lower back. Up to the chest, relax your chest muscles and relax your shoulders. Relax. Relax the muscles in your upper arms and relax the muscles in your lower arms. Relax the hands. Relax. Moving up to your head, relax the muscles in your face. And relax the muscles in your forehead. And relax the muscles in your scalp. Relax your whole body. Relax. If you notice any tension in your muscles, just let the muscles flop down and relax. Once your whole body's relaxed, all the muscles relaxed, bring your right knee up, as so. Then your left knee up. Arms up to apex. Now either stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Relax. Round 2. Relax your feet, the muscles in your feet, and relax your legs. Relax your upper torso. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and your hands. Relax the muscles in your face. And relax the muscles in your scalp. Relax. Right leg up. Left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Relax. Round 3. Body scan. Relax your feet and relax your legs. Relax your stomach muscles and relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your forehead. Once you're totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down, left leg down. Arms down, right leg flat, left leg flat. Relax. Next round, relax your feet and relax your legs. Relax your upper torso and relax your arms. Relax your shoulders and relax the muscles in your face. And relax the muscles in your scalp. Once your body's totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down, left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat, left leg flat. Relax. Just breathe in the present moment. Next round, relax your feet and relax your legs. Relax your stomach muscles and relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your forehead. When your body's totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down, left leg down. Arms down, right leg flat, left leg flat. Relax. Last round, body scan technique. Relax the muscles in your feet and relax the muscles in your legs. Relax the muscles in your upper torso. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your scalp and your forehead. Okay, last round, body scan technique. Relax the muscles in your feet and relax the muscles in your legs. Relax the muscles in your upper torso. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your forehead and your scalp. When all your body's totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 60. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Now at this point at home, you might want to put a blanket over you to stay warm. And we'll just do a short meditation. Just lie there and focus on your breath. Any thoughts coming in, try to come back to your breath and concentrate on letting all your muscles just flop down. Just meditate for a couple of minutes. counting down. 5. Coming back to the room. 4. Coming back to the room. 3. Coming back to the room. 2. Coming back to the room. 1. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and take your seat again.
So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that exercise. And meantime, we welcome Karsten Quisler. Welcome, Karsten. He's also a regular commentator on the show, so enjoy the show, Karsten. Right, it's that time of the show where we have a look at what's been going on in the world. So, let's just start with my own observations while I was out shopping last weekend. Let's just get some images up here. Now here we have our little shoppy, and the queue was so big that it actually my wider angle lens on the smartphone wasn't wide enough to fit all the size of the queue in. However, if you are finding that queues like this are daunting and actually making you feel worse, more depressed, more anxious, I've got a handy tip for you. What's that tip? Let's bring up let's dial in our image. Bring a book. Why not bring a book with you? That's what I did last weekend. I decided that I want to finish Pet Sematary by Stephen King. It's been sitting, honestly folks, it's been sitting in the back of the car for about a year unread, and then it suddenly dawned on me 6 weeks later, get your book. Start reading your book while waiting in the shopping queue. And I can assure you, it has the effect of time travel. Time travel was the theme of last week's show with the Time Lord, but this is another kind of time travel, because when you start reading a book, if you do like reading, some people don't read, some people don't like books, maybe you want to bring a Game Boy or something instead, but I like to bring my book, and it's amazing. That queue that you can see, which is massive, felt like it was only a few minutes to wait, because I got into my book. And I've now realised that probably by the time lockdown ends, I'll have got through my Stephen King book, which would be amazing, wouldn't it? So that's my handy tip. Now, if you can see in that photograph, to the far right of the image, there was this young chap in front of me, about 2 meters away, and you can see, if you look carefully, you can see his left leg his left foot is up at an angle. You can actually see, if you look closely, you can see the sole of his foot. Now this guy I could tell he was suffering from severe anxiety, because when you have severe anxiety, because of the amount of chemicals in your body, the amount of adrenaline, you actually can't stop moving, and you find that if you're standing in a queue or sitting in a doctor's surgery or the chemist, you can't sit still. You start moving, and this can excuse me, this can be horrible for people, because they become very self-conscious. So this young guy, I was observing him. I could tell he had really bad anxiety, because he kept on kicking the concrete with his foot, and he wouldn't stand still. He was just kicking and kicking and kicking, and eventually, after about 4 minutes, he just left the queue, because for people that have severe anxiety, standing in a queue like this is an absolute nightmare. I think it's worse when it's a nice sunny day. For some reason, that makes it a lot worse. So this guy just cleared off in a few minutes, and I wasn't surprised, because he was fidgeting, he was kicking the concrete, he just couldn't standing in the queue. He was probably looking at the size of the queue, and all these psychological things going on in his mind caused him to just, he'd had enough, so he went. So there's my handy tip for you folks. Now, the way I go to shopping in a small town in Scotland, I can't imagine what the queues must be like in the big cities like Edinburgh, Glasgow. I mean, I just can't imagine it. So if you're someone who is having to stand in these massive queues, handy tip is take a book with you, and I can assure you, you'll find that queue magically moves very quickly. Okay. And let's just bring up another image, a bit of a depressing image that I saw when I was out shopping on Sunday. Is this sign, and that's that newspaper post has been up for a few weeks now, and it's for gyms going under because of this lockdown. It's really sad that a lot of businesses are going to go under because of this what I'm calling the CONrona carry on. Some other things in the news. I read that some businesses in the UK are wanting to take the government to court over the lockdown. So there could be some law cases coming up when this is all over. And also, Australia wants to have a bit of a kick in with China, and America wants to join in. Now, I'm sure all of you have been aware that for the past few years, China and America have been champing at the bit. Two world powers really wanting a war. Why? Well, there's money to be made in war. Let's just bring up Minister Zhang from Mr. Robot, also known as White Rose. Now, Mr. Robot, I just want to say, is like the Matrix movie, the original Matrix movie. Mr. Robot is for me personally, the most amazing television drama of the 21st century. Actually, it's not on television at the moment. It's on Amazon Prime. You can see it on Amazon Prime, and it stars Rami Malek as a computer genius hacker. But it's very philosophical and psychological. And I use little excerpts of Mr. Robot when I was teaching mindfulness classes. I would use some clips from the Mr. Robot to help people understand the essence of mindfulness. And we'll also in our show, I'll be bringing up some more clips, the same clips to help those who are new to mindfulness to try and grasp it. Because when I first started learning mindfulness a couple of years ago, I just couldn't get it. I just wasn't getting it. And that was because, first of all, my anxiety was so high that part of my brain was shutting down anyway. And I thought I was going brain dead, but it's not. It's just a survival mechanism. And also I was getting confused between what is mindfulness and what is meditation. And on next week's show, we'll be looking at mindfulness and meditation as part of our jargon busting. Okay, going off on a tangent again. Let's get back to Mr. Robot. And what does Minister Zhang say, who's also known as White Rose? Nothing creates profit quite like global conflicts. So there you are. I would personally be very surprised if there was no end game from this CONrona. If the lockup suddenly happened in a couple of weeks and nothing else at all, I would be somewhat surprised, to say the least. So there's our quote from Mr. Robot, and that's a roundup of what's been going on in the world since last week. Now we're going to bring up another chap, Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Joe Dispenza is quite an amazing guy. I first saw him on the movie What the Bleep Do We Know Anyway? Now this movie is currently still on YouTube and it's free, and you can watch the whole thing. And it's about a mixture of health and well-being, with a mixture of quantum physics, with a bit of psychology, a bit about how the brain works. And I've actually used little excerpts of What the Bleep Do We Know, little movie clips in our classes when I used to teach. I used to instruct mindfulness. And Joe Dispenza is one of the contributors to that movie. So if you're interested in quantum physics and well-being and how the brain works, for a lay person, I recommend you go into YouTube and type in What the Bleep Do We Know? and it'll bring up a whole selection of clips, and also the full movie should still be there. It was the last time that I looked. Anyway, what does Joe say? Well, I saw Joe by chance being interviewed by a lady called Lilu Mace, who runs her own YouTube channel, and she travels around the world with her video camera and interviews inspirational people, people who are working in health and well-being. She interviews scientists who are coming up with new treatments, new therapies. Google Lilu Mace. You'll find her on YouTube and Facebook as well. And I get her emails, so attached to her emails are these little movies. So I'm just going to give you an inspirational quote from Joe Dispenza, because what he says is relevant to what's going on now with all the paranoia, the panic, the OCD behaviours that people are developing because of the CONrona, the general negativity that's in the air. It's still there. Lockdown's still on. So what Joe said in Lilu's interview was, he said, and this is important to remember, he says, if you're fearful, then you're weakening your own self, brackets immune system, to be more susceptible to those conditions in your environment, bracket microbes. If we live in fear of something getting us, what we fear has power over us in that emotional state. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. It's a really good quote from Dr. Dispenza. Okay, it's now time to present this evening's guest, Nick Elston. I'm not going to say anything else just now. Let's hear what Nick had to say. Run VT. So in today's show, our guest is Nick Elston of Forging People. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Thanks very much, Vince.
Thanks for giving us your time. Now, Nick, before you started Forging People, were you doing something completely different?
Yes. Selling office supplies for most of my career. It's an interesting one. Yeah, that's what I did for most of it before I became a speaker, and then Forging People was built on the back of that last year.
So Forging People is about two main areas. One is about developing public speaking skills, assertiveness, confidence, and it's also a form of therapy. Now, can you tell us about your own experience of mental health before Forging People?
I was happy to. I've been just brutally honest, so I don't hold back anything. So that's cool. I had a obsessive compulsive disorder in childhood, which was addressed. But I mean, I'm 42 now, so addressing wasn't the same as it is now. There's fantastic solutions and stuff out there, but for me, it wasn't addressed to the extent that it should have been. And into my kind of teen and adult life, it morphed into something called generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. Now, statistically more common, but less commonly known. So GAD is something that makes you drive. You drive on anxiety. It's a consistent high anxiety, like that kind of hamster wheel feeling that you get, and it just doesn't stop. But it takes the same energy to destroy us as it does as the catalyst forward, and that's what happened with me. Is that through school I was top grades, had prefects in every school, because basically just constantly running on high. But to the outside world, successful by your own definition of the word, but also a warrior and sensitive. It's interesting, these kind of labels you pick up as well. Into my corporate life, again, I took the same mentality in, so just running and running and running and running. And I see it so clearly now in clients and people that I speak for, that the reason why people get to a point of meltdown or breakdown or burnout, whatever you want to call it, is the fact that they don't schedule recovery. They'll fill up their work diaries with all their work stuff, and their home diaries with their family stuff, and they don't feature in their own lives. And every day we need to be featuring in our own lives to make sure we recharge and go again. The second reason is because when we struggle with mental health challenges, but also a low self-esteem, low self-confidence, that we put this mask on. We try and be what people want to see in us, and we try and be what situations demand of us, but we sure don't damn sure ourselves. because our narrative tells us that when we show ourselves, that's when we're going to get shot at. And so we met through CONrona in a networking meeting when I was flying into Edinburgh, going back a long time ago now. But actually, the kind of my moment happened outside of a networking meeting. I did that thing. Remember when we could shake hands, Vince? I was actually shaking hands, like physically with people, and saying, like, "How are you?" And like, "I'm great, thanks." And actually, I wasn't. I was struggling quite a lot with that stuff, and it was a really interesting thing at that point. It's kind of, I took a really weird call. For the Harry Potter fans, it was like the boggart in the cupboard, the thing he kept in for so long. Actually, what would it look like? It's a 20 odd stone, 6'4" bearded guy. What would it look like if I started kind of speaking out about this stuff? And I did. And 2 weeks later at the same meeting, I foresighted, spoke about that and about OCD in childhood. And it was just basically a brain dump. Cheap therapy, literally was. It was like 11 quid or whatever it was at the time. Cheap therapy. And that changed my life forever. And the reason it did was because of three things. The first thing was that everybody in that room queued up to offer their support. People I had assumed would dismiss me or judge me or not love me and everything else. Everyone offered their support. The second thing was everyone gave me hugs. I love hugs. I know the Welsh for hugs. I don't know the Scottish for hugs. I'll have to learn that after you. The third thing, which changed my life forever, was it suddenly wasn't about me anymore. Because with things like high anxiety and a lot of mental health challenges, that it becomes all about us, that it's not intentionally, but it becomes very kind of all-consuming. And suddenly it wasn't about me anymore. And other people I've known for years started sharing their stuff with me right back. So what I found was brutal honesty built a bridge of trust to people immediately. People that felt safe to be vulnerable, which is exactly what it was about.
So on your journey to recovery, after you reached the meltdown point, your journey to recovery was enhanced by doing what you're passionate about.
It was, but it wasn't something I was passionate about before. And I think this is what I found was, and a lot of people find this with speaking. So according to Harvard, public speaking is a bigger fear than death. So we fear ridicule more than we do dying. It's nuts. It's another human flaw. So nobody really looks forward to public speaking until they try it. And actually then you can see that there's a real drive there. If it gets you, it gets you. And that's what happened for me. I just kept on speaking to anybody who would listen. And it, not only was it helping me, but it was helping other people. And that dynamic just continued to build. That I found that there's a lot of solution providers because the bracket I fall under is lived experience, and I stay that way. So I'm not a solution provider, but I increase engagement in the well-being stuff that people got going on already. And that's kind of what I found is my place in the world, really, is the more I went on, the more I enjoyed what I did, and it became like a bit of a circular thing. 2016, I went full-time as a speaker, which is nuts. I mean, like I said, it turns out the kind of your biggest adversity could be your most exciting future. I love that. And on the back of that, Forging People was born last year in 2019 on the basis of that. That it came from a line in my talk. We either let these adversities define us negatively for the rest of our days, or we allow it to forge something better. We allow it to forge something beautiful that never existed without you going through your stuff in the first place. And for me, that's the focus of what I do with Forging People, I label it as a new breed of people development. That we use human-centered stuff, emotional stuff, to get really people feeling what's going on.
So let's talk about your workshops at Forging People. We were talking earlier, and you said that there are lots of things that people can achieve in your workshops. They can develop public speaking skills, but they can develop assertiveness skills. And also it's a form of therapy. So tell us about the kind of things people can do in your workshops, Nick.
So without giving the whole game away, because I like it to be a bit of a surprise what people are booking in for, the first three exercises I do are all around the understanding that when we speak to anybody, whether that be one-to-one or whether it be in front of thousands of people, the effect is the same, is that we need to make an audience feel what we're talking about. It's not about the words. It's about how we make an audience feel. People will remember how you make them feel, and that's the bit I focus on. So to know how to make an audience feel, you need to know what you sound like when you deliver emotion. even the raw stuff that we don't really go near. We need to know what we sound like when we sound angry or sad. And the first 3 exercises I get people to do is to either rant about something for a minute that they really hate, or it could be deliver sadness, talk about grief or loss, or and I always use the caveat, you can make stuff up, but no one ever does, because they feel safe in an environment which is firstly non-judgmental, but also has got a well-being practitioner in there to chill everybody out after the first 2 exercises. Then we go on to something that makes them happy and something that they love. And when we deliver emotion, we sound different in every phase, and we need to know what we sound like. So sadness is very prolonged and quiet, and it's not to change the authenticity of the message, but it's to make sure that you amplify what you want to say onto a room, onto an audience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you were telling me that earlier on that one of the benefits of your workshop is that people who naturally find it hard to just tell people how they're feeling, your workshops will help them to get the words out, because some people just can't, just for whatever reason they can't, because there's this stigma attached to mental health illness. Some people feel that they can't talk about it, and because it's the way they've been brought up and things like that. But from your workshops, people will learn public speaking skills, and they'll also gain personal development skills, and also it'll be a great form of therapy as well.
And it's online as well now. So this actually does, because of obviously we're recording this in the pandemic phase, that I've taken this online, and the impact is just the same online. And you just never would have thought that, would you? You thought it needs to be in person to be an immersive experience. But you're quite right. I mean, like you said, people come along for different reasons, but essentially it's because people want to be heard and they want to be understood. And if they don't feel that way, then it does cause problems in every sense, in terms of business or life.
And Nick, I just want to throw in one extra question that's just occurred to me. Most of the people watching this will probably be suffering from anxiety. Can you give us just some handy tips your handy tips how to deal with anxiety? Because it's such a big, huge problem. Just anything you can, basic tips that.
So the first one I always start with is to avoid assumption. So somebody once asked me to define what anxiety was for me, and if I had to summarise it with a broad brush, it was regret from the past or fear of the future. Very rarely was it today, to the extent that I can manage pretty much everything that came my way today. When I started to break down what was making me anxious, it's actually things that were never happening. And the way I proved that to myself was the fact that I kept something called a worry journal. Sounds fluffy, but it's free and it's fun, go with it. And I wrote down everything that was making me anxious on day one. Welcome to GAD. There was 128 entries. But I went back 2 weeks later and checked on that day one, and none of those things happened. The problem is when we think anxiety, we create anxiety, we damage ourselves with anxiety, physically, spiritually, mentally and emotionally, in every way, about like stuff that's not happening. And it's the same with public speaking, that people are they're not afraid of speaking, they're afraid of getting up and being judged. But actually that's an assumption. You don't know that. So I think for me, Mark Twain says some of the worst things in my life never actually happened. Is start to take away the assumption that things are going to go a certain way, that people feel a certain way, that whatever conversations you had have been perceived a different way, that all that kind of daily stuff that goes around our head, get it out of your head onto paper, really, really powerful process anyway. But when we can start to then, I always like to use the phrase, we need to set out on a mission of proving ourselves wrong constantly, because we are. Most of the time we are wrong. It's our fear mechanism and overdrive. So we're always assuming a worst case outcome. In fact, I saw something last year, was like statistically, if you gave the UK a 50% chance of a positive outcome to anything, or 50% to negative, 82% would go negative. Kind of explains where we are right now, I guess. But so we're kind of hardwired to look for danger. So don't beat yourself up if you're feeling that way. Just try and bring it back into check without that pressure on yourself.
So you're now forging people as you're 2 years old. Did you say it's about 2 years old now?
Yeah, so it started early last year, forging people as a business. For the longer time, I was as self-employed purely as a speaker. But if I'm honest, the business was built on the back of, by speaking about my stuff every single day, it was starting to have a negative impact. The story started to own me as opposed to owning the story. And there's a fine line between the two, but a whole world of difference. So I built the business to give me something else which wasn't my story. So again, in every adversity, you kind of get that exciting thing to happen from it. Opportunities are everywhere.
So, Nick, have you got any plans for the future? Tours, books, television? I saw a BBC. I'm sure I saw a BBC logo on one of your.
Yeah, so I've done work with the BBC before on a few occasions. That was pretty cool. Currently in the process of writing my first book, which will be Talking Anxiety. Of course, that's what they call the keynote talk. So that's happening soon. I think that as a country music fan, my next step will be to try and get a gig in Texas or Tennessee. One of the two, I'm not fussy. So if anyone out there is looking to book a speaker for Tennessee or Texas, let me know. That'd be cool. To be honest, mate, I go with the flow. Because the most exciting things today were not planned. And I think for me, I can take a lot of kind of faith in that none of this was planned, and it's doing me all right. So I'm just going to see what happens. And that sounds a bit blasé, but it's true. I think that most of the opportunities I've found, I've kind of stumbled across because I'm always looking out for other things. Any other opportunity, other people to meet like yourself, like we've reconnected after nearly a decade of meeting each other once, and you just never know. That was never on my, as much as I love you, it wasn't on my hit list for this year, but here you are, that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
So Nick, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they contact you?
So there's two ways. The speaking stuff is nickelston.com, all my socials and emails on there. And also for the business side, for the Speaking Academy stuff, it's forgingpeople.com. And again, all my socials and email on there as well. So yeah, drop me a line. I've got a very active YouTube channel as well, which you can find links on my socials too.
Nick Elston, thank you very much.
You're a good man. Thank you, Vince. Enjoyed this. Thank you.
So that was Nick Elston there. Now, for those of you who are alert and thinking, what are those funny noises going on in the background? That was actually Nick's doggy. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see Nick's doggy, but Nick's doggy was, during the interview, demolishing a biro ballpoint pen. But I did get to see the biro ballpoint pen off camera, and it was completely disintegrated. I've never seen a ballpoint pen more disintegrated than that. So that's what the background noise was all about. So let's welcome our new commentator. We have Laura Binney. Welcome, Laura. Now, Laura has given us a handy comment, a handy tip regarding reducing time waiting in the queue for the shops. And she says that her brother brings an audiobook to the shopping. And that is another thing, another good tip there to help you reduce time waiting in the queue. So thanks for that tip, Laura. And Laura is the other half of Glass Bullet Media Productions. So if you are looking for a Scotland's top video productions company in Scotland, Google Glass Bullet Media, because Graham, who's the other half, featured on our show a couple of weeks ago. And if you missed that show, go back onto YouTube and watch the interview with Graham Campbell, because it's absolutely fascinating to hear about his experiences of filmmaking and how he's adapting to the current lockdown situation. So thank you, Laura, for joining us. Laura says hello. Hi, Laura. Peace. Okay. Now, we are going to bring you a little report on mindful driving, how to do mindful driving. Now, this, as I said at the beginning of the show, even if you're not a driver, the same rules apply. You can use these techniques as a passenger in any vehicle. So let's just run VT. It's just a couple of minutes. Enjoy. So once again, it's a beautiful day, and I'm getting out of the house, and we're going to do some mindful driving techniques. How do you do mindful driving? Well, it's really quite simple. where you can use your 5 senses while you're driving. You're concentrating on your driving, and being a mindful driver makes you a much safer driver. In fact, I think many road accidents are simply caused by people being lost in thought on autopilot mode. If they were more alert, perhaps there'd be less fatalities on the roads. So we're practicing being alert drivers. So you can concentrate on your 5 senses, including taste. You might want to stick a sweetie in your gob and focus on taste as well. It's all about focusing on your senses rather than being lost in obsessive compulsive thinking. So let's start with touch. Right now I'm focusing on the feeling of the steering wheel against my hands, the feeling of the gear stick against my left hand. I'm focusing on the feeling of the chair against my back and my legs. So there's one sense I can focus on. The other one, of course, is very important. Look where you're going when you're driving. So I'm focusing on the road. I'm watching out for other cars. I'm noticing things on the road. Buildings, birds flying, trees, the colour of the sky, what type of clouds there are. I'm looking in my rear mirror. I'm checking my side mirrors as well. So observation is another key sense to focus on. I'm also focusing on sound. So I'm focusing on the sound of the car engine. I'm focusing on any sounds inside the car. So you might want to play a little bit of gentle music when you're doing mindful driving, but I would say don't have music at all. That will heighten your other senses as well. So I can hear the sound of the tyres against the road. I can hear the car engine. So that's touch, sight and sound. Feeling your weight against the chair. Temperature. What's the temperature of the car? Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it medium? I've got the aircon on, so I'm feeling the nice cool air on my feet, keeping my feet nice and cool. Now right now ahead I can see a cyclist, so I'm being very mindful of the cyclist. I'm not lost in thought. So the cyclist will be very safe with me driving mindfully. I'm also being aware of the road signs as well, the speed limits. And I'm also trying to be aware, of course, that I'm in the present moment while driving. I also practice gratitude while I'm driving. I'm constantly saying thank you to the universe for providing me with this wonderful car that helps me to do my work, that never lets me down. So you can practice gratitude while you're driving as well. Now, if you don't drive, you can equally practice these techniques while being a passenger in a car or a bus or a plane or a tram. I often do. And if you don't like going on public transport and you're not a driver, why not try doing mindful skateboarding? So that was our little report on mindful driving. Now, next week's show, we'll have a little report on how to do mindful eating. So watch out for that on next week's show. Now, I'm also going to suggest an inspirational movie to watch, because while you're all in lockdown, I can't think of anything better to do indoors than watching an inspirational movie. So my handy tip for a movie is Cloud Atlas. It's quite a long film, and stars Halle Berry and Tom Hanks and a whole host of other famous actors. It's a really good film to watch, and some of it was shot in Scotland. Yes, some of it was shot in Edinburgh at the Scots Monument. So if you watch the film, you might recognise Princess Street in the film, and some of other bits are set in Scotland in the past. And there's also there's a bridge, that bridge that goes across the Forth, and it's gone out of my head because we're live, and I didn't research it, but the the bridge, not the fourth bridge, the smaller one. That's more towards the to the west of the fourth. If anyone can tell me, please come up on the messages. Maybe Laura, you can tell me the name of the bridge, because you were the one that told me about Cloud Atlas in the first place. And yes, so a lot of it is based on the book, and the movie, just an incredible film, and it's all about one soul that's reincarnating through different periods in time, from the early 1700s. The Clackmannanshire Bridge. Thank you, Carsden. The Clackmannanshire Bridge is featured in Cloud Atlas, but they've put in some CGI, so you might not recognise it completely. They've put a CGI kind of small industrial complex at one end of the bridge. But yes, if you watch the movie, you'll see the Clackmannanshire Bridge in the movie. And as I say, the story is about a soul that's reincarnating throughout history, and this soul can be male or female, and it can be human and non-human as well. I'm not going to say too much about the plot because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a great film because this soul, no matter what lifetime it incarnates into, is always experiencing some kind of oppression from some force or government or system. But what you'll find is this soul is like a good soul. It's never an evil character in its incarnations, but it does have to face up to really nasty, evil, dangerous people in different periods of time. There's a bit of sci-fi in there as well. So I would recommend getting Cloud Atlas as an inspirational film to watch. It's all about the human spirit triumphing over oppression. So that's my handy film for this week to watch. Actually, Cloud Atlas is, if you've got Amazon Prime, I think it's currently showing on Amazon Prime at the moment. And Carson's saying, look out for Hal Berry in the yellow Volkswagen Beetle car. Yes, that's the car that features on the Clackmannanshire Bridge sketch. So watch out for Cloud Atlas. I mean, it is interesting. I wonder why the author decided to base some of it in Edinburgh. I mean, it could have featured any other city in the world, but Edinburgh's in there. It's a really good film. It's a long one, mind you. It's about well over 2 hours long, but it's on Amazon Prime. So if you've got Amazon Prime, watch it. You'll feel it's a feel good factor film. So we have sadly come to the end of our show for tonight. I'd like to thank all our commenteurs tonight. We had Alex Miller, cameraman, William Ritchie, also another media man from West Lothian who I used to work with. We had Hayley Pender, we've had Carsden Quisler, and we've had Laura Binney from Glass Bullet Media Productions in Fife. So thank you all for your comments tonight. And thank you to our speaker tonight, Nick Elston. And I'm hoping to get Nick back on the show later on once his book's been published and he can tell us about his new book, which I think is going to be called Talking Anxiety. So it's a really interesting talk from Nick. And if you missed it, or you can watch it again on YouTube later on and go back over what he was saying. And thank you, people, you for watching. Thanks for watching. And I hope you'll join us on the next show. And I hope you enjoyed doing your Tibetan relaxation exercise with your mats. Thanks for interacting with me. And that brings us to the end of round 7. The lockdown's still on, so we're still on. And it's game on. Thanks for watching. Let's roll credits. Namaste. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.